Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Small Couch Reviews. It's your boy Sam, and I just saw Saw. Yeah, I saw, yes, I saw Saw, and I think it might be back. I think. Okay, so Saw X is out. Seriously, these movies, I remember they used to come out yearly. It was like a tradition for me and my friends to go out and watch them every single year because we just love them. But I think around the time of the sixth one, right before the 3D one came out, I was sitting there and I was like, "Hey, yeah, these movies aren't that great anymore," because they'd really fallen off, taken a nosedive. And then Seven came out, which I didn't like, and then all the other ones after that, they were just meh or totally forgettable. But those first two Saw movies, to this day, some of my favorite movies. I think fans of the franchise will all universally agree. Those first two are probably the best in the franchise. So then we get, now we're in Saw X, the 10th one, which takes place after the first one, and it shows. I think it's actually directed by a guy who worked as an editor on the first five. So you can see, like, seriously, this movie looks like, I mean, HD cameras aside, like with our newer our newer cameras aside, it looks like this movie could have just been shot in 2005. It looks just like the first and second one aesthetically, which is good. That's not trying to be disrespectful. That's good because those were the good movies, right? So anyway, in just quick recap, in case you've never seen this franchise or it's been a while since you've seen it, the Saw movies revolve around John Kramer, who is an engineer who finds out he has brain cancer in the first one. And he basically gives up on life. Then he gets into a car accident. And when he's in the accident, he literally claws his way out trying to escape so that he can live. So, despite cancer, he still discovered that he wanted to live. And he found that experience liberating. So now he has taken it upon himself to share that experience with other people who he feels don't appreciate life as they should. That's your violent drug addicts, your scammers, schemers, murderers, rapists, those people. He grabs them and puts them in what he calls games. And if you win the game, you are instantly really rehabilitated. These games are honestly just death traps. He puts them in death traps. And if they can escape the death trap, his logic is okay, you came that close to death and you escaped. So now you're going to appreciate life more. Spoiler alert, a lot of people do not escape these death traps. But yeah, it is what it is. So anyway, in this one, it takes place after the first one. So he's become what's known as the Jigsaw Killer. Putting people in these games, and he's gotten his cancer diagnosis, and he hears about this treatment plan that could actually save his life. So he goes down to Mexico. I mean, this is all in the trailer. He goes down there, and he uh, gets this treatment. But it turns out everybody from the taxi driver who drove him to the nurses, the fake patients, the doctors, everyone in on it was a scammer. There is no cure. They just took his money and they left him to die. And they could not have done it to a worse person. Like I'm sorry, they could not have done it to a worse person. They could have chosen a worse target, I should say, because it's a jigsaw killer, and he goes and he finds them and he puts them in games. Yeah, man. So I mean, just off jump, that right there, that is something that's different than other movies. John Kramer normally, I mean, he picks people, and then you see them go through these games, and during the games, you discover like why he picked them. Like usually they have a bad attitude or they're jerks in the mix, and you're like, yeah, I can see why, but you're never really thinking like this person deserves it. You're like, This is actually kind of extreme, bro." But these people taking money from terminally ill people, taking money and preying on their hope. Oh, no, 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 no. This time you're like, you deserve it. And they honestly make John Kramer like a someone you can empathize with and sympathize with, because it's like you took advantage of his hope, gave him hope, and he was being all nice to you and everything, and then you just revealed that everything was a scam, everything. So yeah, they these more than any other movie, I think these people you feel deserve it. And the movie spends a good amount of time setting that up. There's something else they don't do. They don't normally set up the characters who are in the game. They just throw you into the game. So that was actually kind of refreshing to see. um because while they're in these traps, you're kind of, I mean, as gruesome as they are, and I'll get to that in a minute, you're kind of like in the back of your head, you're like, yeah, but you kind of deserve this. You kind of do. Um, but yeah, so the Saw movies, they're about two things: traps and twists. That's it. The traps that Jigsaw sets up. In every movie, there's a twist. Either Jigsaw himself or one of his apprentices who are running the game reveals something to the players of the game and to the audience that we did not previous know. It's usually something that's a huge like game changer, no pun intended, but something that like makes you just demonstrates how far ahead in thinking they are and how smart they are, because people always think they can somehow escape or cheat the game, and you can't. And these twists really show that. So they're usually really cool. But let's start with the traps. The traps get back to the basics again, just like the first two movies. I think they're great. And then that's not fair. I just had the first. I think the first four. Four was actually the first one I saw, and I think one, two, and four are probably my favorites. I know a lot of people like six. I'm not really a fan of it. By then, it was just gore for gore's sake. I mean, I think there's one where like they use a laser to cut someone in half. It just got ridiculous. Stick to the blades. Stick to the knives. Keep it simple and gory and gut wrenching, and you'll be good. And this movie does that. There is one trap in particular. It's the first. It's the second trap, honestly, where it involves a saw and a leg. And I tell you, my entire row, we had our fists clenched because we couldn't take what we were watching. Like we were like, oh my gosh. Like this movie, it really goes there. They did not drop a beat. Like this again, it looks just like I'll never forget in Saw 2 when Amanda got picked up and just thrown into the batch of like HIV needles. Like it was like this these movies, superb job. That's all I can say. The traps in these movies, superb job, and I'm very happy to see Saw X get back to basics. Now a couple of things I didn't like. There are only three really. First off, the twist, like I said, they're actually one of the big reasons I'm there. I mean, like I said, traps and twists, and they're usually, like I said, pretty cool. But this one, I don't even know if you can call them twists. I mean, they revealed stuff that you didn't previously know, but it wasn't anything, profound or game changing. And it just was like, oh, okay. So, I mean, and you kind of knew, you didn't know what it was going to be, but you knew who was going to be impacted, if that makes sense. So, it didn't really hit like the other ones hit. So, that was a little disappointing. Didn't ruin the movie at all. Something that did also in this, I don't know if this is fair, but being a prequel, we got to see Tobin Bell and his apprentices again. And spoiler alert, I mean, if you haven't seen these, they're all dead by like the seventh movie. They're all gone. So it's like, we get to see you're just reminded how good these characters were, and it's just unless they're going to keep doing prequels, it's just sad we're not going to see them again, and we're going to have to get used to someone else if this franchise does continue. And then third, just I didn't get a game over.
Game over.
Game over.
I'll fucking kill you.
Game over.
Huge staple of the franchise, and it just was not there in this movie. But again, nothing that was, that's not the biggest deal in the world. There's the mid-credit scene. Make sure you stick around for that. It actually answered the question that you may have in the back of your head. It was pretty satisfying, honestly. It's a pretty good mid-credit scene. I think you're gonna enjoy it. So yeah, if you're a fan of the Saw franchise, I think you're gonna like this movie. I'm pretty sure you're gonna like it more than half of the movies that have come out so far. At least half, if not more. If you're not a fan, or if you've never seen it, this wouldn't really sway you. It's not, I mean, it's not like great enough to make you a fan of the franchise. But if you are interested in seeing it, you do not need to have seen the other movies to understand this one. That is also something that they did very well. It might help to watch the first four just to understand John Kramer's relationship with the people who help him, but it's not big enough of an impact for it to anyway disrupt this movie experience for you. So, or movie viewing experience for you. Sorry. So, yeah. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna give this one a 3.5 out of 5. I think it was a good time at the movies, honestly. I really missed this. I did. I'm happy to see a good Saw movie. So yeah, Saw X is out in theaters now. When you go see it, please come back here. Let's talk about it right down there in the comments. Let me know which one was your favorite Saw movie. Was it two, like mine? Was it one? I know it wasn't five. So yeah, just let me know which one was your favorite. And yeah, appreciate it, guys. Until next time, I'm out.